Gentlewoman yields. The gentleman from Virginia reserves, and the gentlewoman from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield 4 minutes to the gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Grothman.
I'd like to make some comments on the reauthorization bill. This is one of these big bills. It's 268 pages. I don't have time to go through all the problems with the bill, but I'm just going to touch on some highlights or lowlights. In this area of high inflation, of course, a bill like this, the first thing I look at is the cost. And the cost of this bill, right now, we're spending about $9.9 billion on this topic. Over the next 6 years, they expect it to increase to $16.2 billion. So you're looking at a 63% increase in spending on this area at a time where we really don't have any money to increase anything. So I want the American public to understand big spending increase here. Secondly, I'd like to talk about a very important population to me, though a population that's not talked about enough, and that is the fact that we are continuing to allow a provision in law which I think is damaging to people born with different abilities. Right now, they're not able to work at work centers, which is one of these places, sometimes pays under minimum wage, until they're at least 24 years old. We would never tell anybody of other abilities that you're not allowed to work until you're age 24. But by making it, I won't say impossible, but very difficult to work at a work center until age 24, I think you stunt the people's growth, and I was really hoping we would use this opportunity to allow people with different abilities to begin to work at 18 or 19 years old. Anybody who tours these work centers cannot help but be touched by how proud these folks are to work there, and I wish they could work there at age 18 instead of 24. The next thing I'll point out is a clear feature of this bill is to dramatically expand Job Corps. In other words, government jobs that are a stepping stone, I guess, if you can't find another job. There has never been a time, I think, in American history in which they are looking for more people to work. So as I go around my district, be it service industry, agriculture, light manufacturing, they're begging for employees. And what is the Congress going to do? They're going to go in there and say, no, we're not going to let you work at the local restaurant. We're going to have you work for the Job Corps. I think that's a mistake. The fourth thing I'll point out is this obsession with racial biases and gender identity. There is a bill right now that the majority party has that's called the LGBT Data Inclusion Act, in which they expect everybody, I guess, to tell their employer what their sexual preferences are. I've been doing this job in politics for a long time. I have never had a discussion about sexual preferences with any of my employees. I would feel embarrassed to ask them. But this bill clearly implies a world in which, when you apply for a job, let's talk about our sexual identity. The fifth thing I want to point out is we have a big problem in this country at our southern border. And in this bill, in committee, we tried to have E-Verify to apply to all these jobs. In other words, to make sure that if we are going to have such a program, at least it's American citizens who take advantage of the program. That bill was shot down in committee. What does that tell me? That amendment was shot down in committee. It tells me that one more time, along with free medical care, along with Pell Grants, the majority party wants to help out people who are coming here who shouldn't be here. E-Verify really should have been part of the bill. I don't think the American public wants another government program designed, at least in part, to benefit people who are here illegally. So those are some of the greatest hits of the bill, and I'd like to